Uplift the Spirit happened to be the manual, the #2 speech in this manual that I'm working on right now. And I thought for a little bit, and I said, uplift the spirit, what the heck am I going to come up with to do that? I thought perhaps I would talk about my 401k, and I said, no, that's not going to work. I was going to share about the economy, and I said, no, not so much. Maybe the politics, and then it came to dirty politics. I thought, what the heck, maybe I'll do a religious sermon. I thought about the audience and thinking that maybe that wasn't going to be the best thing. The next thing, that idea that came along was dietary fiber. And although that would move everything along, it may not lift the spirit. So I said, what am I going to do? And this was a tough one because I will not go out of order in any manual. Just maybe my right brain or my left brain. I'm not sure which one that is. So I said, why not root for the underdog? America loves the underdog, don't they? And I said, well, I better do some research a little bit on what the underdog really is and why do we root for the underdog? Ever wonder why? It's almost biological. We're almost so programmed to do that, we do it automatically. But why? When we were young, we were the underdog. Whether we liked it or not, we were dependent on our parents for food, shelter, changing our diaper. And then we graduated to another level of being the underdog. We went to school. We were the underdog as we were students in front of our teachers, our professors, and even some of the bullies, if you remember those people. I remember those people. Do you? But it wouldn't be fair to talk about the underdog unless you talked about the top drawer individual, the achiever, the front runner. We had a Super Bowl this last year for any of those who follow sports, and oftentimes we find sports as one of the measurements of who's the underdog, and I find myself rooting for the underdog quite often. Does anybody know the name Tom Brady? Top drawer quarterback for the New England Patriots. Top achiever, he has a lot of money, he has great looks, he has a fantastic looking girlfriend, and everybody found themselves rooting for the underdog. Who were they playing? For those of you who do not know, they were playing the New York Giants. Now there was an underdog in the quarterback. He was the underdog to his brother Peyton Manning. Eli Manning he became the victorious quarterback, and everybody was elated. It's not that we don't like individuals, we don't like top achievers. We just have this sense of wanting to create a certain level of equality, for lack of a better word. We have an underdog in the politics, in the political arena. We had a front runner by the name of Hillary Clinton. We all should remember that name because I think we'll see it again. But she was definitely what? Top drawer individual. Still is. She was the front runner. And everyone was rooting now for the underdog. Well, not everyone, but enough people to lift that individual to where he is today. So much is played on the idea of the underdog that the GOP candidate is now saying that he relishes the fact that he is the underdog. Maybe he's trying to get into the emotional aspect of our psyche to help him lift himself up. That may not work. One of the exciting things, my favorite subject, for those of you who do not know, is baseball. Now we have two classic cases of the underdog playing in the World Series. Last night, an underdog was victorious in beating another underdog. How does that work? Here's an individual, a pitcher who clinched the 7th game of the American League playoffs the other night by the name of David Price. Now David Price came out of nowhere. He was in college last year. I think he played 5 weeks. He's played 5 weeks in the major leagues. The Tampa Bay Rays came from the worst record, if any of you who followed the sports, to the premier show. From worst. They're the first team in all sports to have ever come from the very worst record to the very best. Talk about underdog. The Phillies, on the other hand, are underdog because, why? They have the worst record in any professional sports. So here we have America in a quandrum of who are they going to wish to be victorious. Well, the only reason why I want the Rays to be victorious is because the Phillies beat my Dodgers. So let's not confuse underdog with dog. Here is a Mongol being arrested the other day. Now, I would put him in the category of, instead of underdog, just plain old dog. He's been accused of murder, he's accused of a lot of different things. That's somebody else that is at a different level that we're not going to get into, but do not confuse. This guy's probably feeling like an underdog right now as he has his hands in chains and behind bars, or perhaps those individuals should be. To re-stress again that America is truly in love with the underdog, anybody seen the movie called Rocky? Story about an individual who was fighting against the very best. Rudy, remember that movie for you sports enthusiasts? But for you who are not into sports, we have Cinderella. What was the story with Cinderella? She was being repressed by the stepmother and two stepsisters, and we were wishing for her to do all kinds of different things, and we were frustrated that she couldn't get the shoe to fit. Or she couldn't find the, well, the prince was having a challenge finding this young lady to fit the shoe. Anyway, it became successful. But most of the stories are now, they are sports. The Bad News Bears, the Mighty Ducks. We always love to see those individuals rise to a higher level. If you are ever in a situation where you're feeling that you are an underdog, remember that America loves you. And we strive to accomplish our particular goals. We are an underdog at various levels in our life, always shooting to become the top dog. So I'm going to leave you with this. Next time you're feeling bad or envious, remember, you are right where you need to be. America loves you, as I said, and is rooting for you as you pursue your dreams and goals to become the top dog you were destined to become. Until now.